Afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, March 9th, 2026. Here's the meeting of the Gettysburg Borough Stormwater Authority. Welcome. I have no particular comments or opening remarks. The first thing we're going to look at will be the approval of the agenda, minutes, and other business. As we do this, this is a consent agenda that we use to pass these. So we've all received information ahead of time. Obviously, the agenda, bills, payrolls is presented, which I've signed the bills and payroll information. And the February 9th minutes, which have been reviewed and commented upon. So does anybody have any comments on those three items? Not hearing any, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. And the consent agenda is approved. Thank you. This is the time for public comments, and these comments are restricted to anything on the agenda. Yes, sir. Please identify yourself and welcome, by the way.
My name is Muhammad Ashraf.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me. Yes, we have to use the podium. Thank you.
So they can see you on television.
Yeah, and hear you.
Sorry to say, my name is Muhammad Ashraf.
Uh-huh.
I am the owner of property 150 Carlisle Street, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. My architect, he told me there is something going on with the creek beside that one, Stevenson Run wall. Borough is planning to rebuild that one. And he told me that I should attend the meeting about the property and the wall.
Okay.
I have 2-3 small questions about the property and the wall. Half of the wall is already concrete, starting from the small building that was the old Beanie Shoes room. Starting from that one up to the Carlisle Street, it's almost solid concrete wall. But I don't know that Borough is interested, this board is interested to demolish the whole wall or the part of the damaged wall on the both sides. Other side is Ugly Mug Cafe wall. Mm-hmm. That is more bad, in bad condition than the my side. Mm-hmm. My question, second question was, my property, small corner has been declared as a flood zone area in the corner of that bridge and almost a few feet away from the Beanie Shoes room. My question is, if the borough is going to rebuild the wall, it will benefit me also that flood zone will be gone and I can build some building on there or no?
Okay. Go. And your third question, because I think what's going to happen is when we get to that particular part of the agenda, we'll start maybe answering your questions. But go ahead.
And the next question is, it will be solid concrete or block wall, and it will be built on the both sides or only 150 Carlisle Street property side?
Okay, all good questions.
And the next question will be,
okay.
What I listened from the architect, that was, it will cost to the properties or residents or the owners of the business or the residents of the Gettysburg, or it will be totally funded by the federal government or the borough?
Okay.
Thank you for listening me.
You're welcome. And I think we can answer your questions in the course of this meeting, at least some of them, as we know at this point. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, not hearing any. We'll start with our current business. Charles, revenue and expenses?
Year to date through February 28th, the borough or the municipal authority has received $348,000 in revenues, largely as our new billing cycle began in January. expenditures of just over 40,000, so currently running a surplus of 308,000. Of course, that's going to change as we get into the year and we have some big projects. Liquid cash, $358,000 on hand to pay payrolls and such. And Pliget Investments remains at $586,000 with just under $1,700 in interest last year, or last month.
Beautiful.
Other than that, I have nothing else to add.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you. Deborah, how are we doing on?
We are switched to our new software system, and Adam and I have sent out the liens. They were processed on February 27th. I believe we did 56 liens for parcels not paid. We have a list of maybe 8 folks or so that I need to try to contact, and I've resent letters because of some addressing issues. We're working on some reporting and a couple of things with the new software, so we just have some learning curves with that. So that's kind of all I have right now. Still kind of coming up
Okay.
with what we need and getting some data that we missed transferred over from some of our.
Have you had any responses after the liens went out?
Yes.
Okay,
We're already getting paid,
Yep.
good.
as they tend to
Good.
do.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
okay, good. Questions? Okay. You have, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add briefly to that, as Deborah said, we filed 56 of them. We have around 8 to 10, I can't recall the exact number, that have to be resent, or because of a timing issue, they were sent in the name of an old property owner,
Right.
and the property was sold right around when the bills were mailed.
course.
Obviously, we're not going to file a lien against somebody who didn't have the bill addressed to them and perhaps got it, or it was forwarded to an old owner who may have thrown it away. So there's a number of those that we've pulled out just to see, we've resent them. Hopefully, they'll be forthcoming. Going to accept payment, not at the lien amount.
Right.
They're already starting to get paid, as they often do. This was the highest that we've ever filed. Not dramatically higher. Normally, it's around 40. This was 56. I think we all kind of anticipated that because different billing cycle, different amount, there's probably some sense among some people that, this was sent in error because I just paid this a couple months ago. If you have any questions, as always, call the authority.
I even had someone drop by the house, so they were so confused, and I explained it to them, and he told me, well, this is the first bill he's ever received. I said, really? I said, you've won. Just pay, he said, I'll pay this bill.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's a new software system kicking in, I don't know, but.
I will
but
say-
I did have to explain the whole purpose of the Stormwater Authority.
Every year, or every round of this, there's always been some properties that the bill was sent and then the property sold. And the correct thing for settlement companies or attorneys or abstractors to do is to call, because this is a municipal charge, just like you would call GMA, what's the water and sewer
Water,
bill?
sewer, right.
It's a lienable charge. You should call the authority. This year, we just had one that was like that, and usually it's been more, and that is a downward trend. And this was a settlement company from Camp Hill, that randomly was doing a settlement for a Gettysburg property, probably a friend of a friend or something like that. But from what I can tell, all the local settlement companies here in Gettysburg, here in Adams County, occasionally we see some from Chambersburg, Hanover, even York, they all know. They all know to call. So those bills are getting paid as part of closings now. Our existence and the knowledge of that is spreading a little bit further, which is helpful in getting things paid in the ordinary course of action. So,
It takes time.
yeah, that's all I have.
Any questions? Okay. Update on grants, Charles? Anything?
No.
Okay. Any questions on the no? No? On the NO? Let's turn, next on our agenda is a special presentation, and I will emphasize the word tentative here because it's not going to happen. this presentation for Gettysburg Station. The Simrat Townhomes, I cannot speak to directly, but I can on the Gettysburg Station, and that they're going to visit us in May. Chad and I went over a lot of plans and had a whole bunch of questions and suggestions. As a result of that Chad forwarded, and lo and behold, I guess they thought they were fairly good ideas. And do you have any comments? It's really caused them to postpone and redraw.
Yes, I think the authority remembers the conversation last month. There was a lot, right? A lot of comments, some heavy hitters. We wanted a significant revision to the way that the stormwater is being handled, and they've kind of agreed to that. Because of how significant of an overhaul it's going to be, it's going to take some time. They're going to have to come back out and do some more geotechnical information before they can make those revisions, and it's going to, they're in the process of doing that. So having another discussion tonight, whenever they're just not done with the major overhaul, would be premature.
So our discussion last time, along with the sidebar that Chad and I had, those comments were even upheld by the Adams County Conservation District. They had similar comments.
A lot of similar comments. They have new spreadsheets and stuff that are coming out with the new NPDS rules, so they're getting hit by all of those things as well. So just like we had anticipated. So they're working through their comments, working through our comments, and in 2 months from now, we think that they'll be at a better spot where we can start addressing some of the comments. So for tonight, the simple decision there is I don't know if we need to take any action, or if you do take any action, it'll be to the table.
Right. I don't think any action is really needed. We'll just entertain their presentation when they show up, which we think is May, and we'll talk about meetings later. So it's either going to be, in my mind, May or July.
Yeah, and May.
And it may indeed be July.
So and just today, their engineer did respond to me saying that he anticipates being ready for the May meeting.
Okay,
but
good.
I anticipate that means they're going to be here to do their presentation, go over some of the comments. We'll probably still not be ready for a final approval yet.
Right.
Because that PDS process is a 6-month process,
Oh.
So they're working through that as well. My guess is the July meeting is the more realistic time whenever we're maybe ready for a conditional approval. The next meeting will just be an update, but they actually, I think, do intend to be here in 2 months from tonight.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Any questions?
Do you think they'll have drawings to us before they get here in May, or do you think that they'll just bring them along and we'll?
I expect revised drawings that we can take a look at prior to that meeting. We can review, have comments ready to go. So I would say once we get there, maybe I'll ask Deborah to get those distributed to you guys. They should be submitted to they haven't been copying me, but most of that stuff gets addressed to John Whitmore. So whenever John gets them, we'll make sure we distribute it to you guys.
That would be our desire, to have them at least
In advance. Oh,
10
yeah,
days
absolutely.
in advance, 2 weeks, so we can take a look.
Yeah, same for me, right? And I think our
Yeah.
ordinance has like a 2-week requirement. They couldn't expect to come here and do a presentation and then us be ready for
Right.
interaction or productive meeting. It would just be us listening at that point.
Correct. Okay, Pat, okay, good, okay, good. All right, old business updates now.
And that's the same, so we were talking about the Gettysburg Station, but it's with that special presentation, we also had the Simrat
Oh, that's right, I'm
townhomes.
sorry, yeah.
Yep, and it's basically the same conversation. They just received my comments today, so if you can remember, this got submitted back in the fall, but it was a completely different arrangement. They had the townhomes lining Water Street. Now they are perpendicular, and there's 2 rows of them with a parking lot in between.
Right.
So now the stormwater is at the bottom of the hill, which is a more appropriate spot for stormwater, right? It flows downhill. But just today they got my comments. There's like 20 comments, so they're going to be working through all of those things. Big concern there, in my opinion, is that the underground infiltration pits are pretty big, and they're real close to like other trees and their foundations of their building, and so it's just like everything in Gettysburg, there's piling 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. So,
Right.
so that's kind of the gist of our comments. But aside from that, it's fairly straightforward stormwater plan. So again, they're going to work through the comments, and we expect them to be here in 2 months from now. They may be getting close to looking for approval, though.
May?
That project is a way simpler project than the Gettysburg Station project. So I wouldn't be surprised if that one's not pretty much ready to go in two months
But
from
you'll
now.
let us know because they will give us plans ahead of time.
Exactly, yep. And we should have plans at this point for that, right? We should have, I'm not sure if, Deborah, did you get those plans yet?
I have not seen them yet. John's had them. 'cause I
John's had
was
'em, yeah.
On leave for a little while, so.
But we'll have revisions, because like I said, they just got my comments today. So they'll have revisions to those comments. So once we get revised plans, we'll make sure all of them, the Stormwater Authority gets
John
copies.
still has them, so I'll get them from him.
Okay, yeah, spread them around, yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. Old business updates, Stevens Run, Water Street Bridge.
So our design is, that's the one where the sidewalk replacement is getting done. The design is pretty much finished. There's a structural adequacy that needs to go to PennDOT, so that's in the process.
East Water Street.
East Water Street, correct. So that's in the process of being reviewed by PennDOT as we speak. So as soon as PennDOT gives us the green light, then we're going to be looking for a motion from the Borough Council to authorize us to bid the project, and still looking to, on task to get it constructed this year.
And what's the price tag?
Oh, boy, I think that was, I'm thinking back to when we budgeted for this back in October, so you're
Yeah.
challenging my memory here, but I think it was in 120 to 130,000.
That's a borough expense.
120 something, yeah, Robbie's thinking that's
right.
about.
Yeah, the idea is to pay for that out of liquid fuels.
Okay, liquid fuels tax, okay. Pat?
So, it's a new bridge, right?
So we're only replacing the sidewalk on the north side of the
So we're
bridge.
not changing the cross-section of the water flow?
Not changing the cross-section of the waterway, not changing the road at all. It's just the sidewalk. The way that bridge was built, the original bridge, you can tell, as soon as you look under it, that the north side sidewalk was cantilevered off to the side and added on later. And that's the piece that's failing.
Okay.
So it doesn't really have a whole lot of effect to the Stormwater Authority, but it's on your agenda just because there is some DEP permitting that goes associated with any bridge work we do.
Okay.
So you guys stay aware of it. That's really all you need to be.
Okay, the GMA ongoing sewer interceptor project.
So, as you know, the Bream Alley wall, that's the reason why it's on your agenda, is because the Bream Alley wall is substantially complete. I just went out there on Thursday or Friday last week to take a look, and they have most of the concrete cap poured.
Oh, okay.
That has the rebar in it for the retaining, or for the guide rail. So as soon as they get that cap poured, of course it was a hard winter, so there's a lot of days they couldn't work this winter. But as soon as they get that cap poured, then they can put the guide rail on and finish the project. So.
That alley's a mess.
And then the alley needs to get repaved and make sure that there is 2 brand-new storm inlets on the alley that pipe the water through the wall, through the brand-new wall.
Right.
And we'll have to make sure that whenever they repave the alley, that it drains properly to those 2 inlets. But yeah, it's under construction as we speak.
So those, and this is maybe a silly question, but those inlets don't have backflow preventers, do they? In other words,
No.
if it floods, it's going to come back up through into that alley, right?
It could, but the elevation of the inlet is pretty significantly higher. Like, it would probably be at a point.
It would almost be to the top anyway.
It would almost be top, I was thinking even to Springs Avenue. Like, it would be to the point where it's starting to spill out onto Springs
Okay.
Avenue at that
Well, I'll
point.
go to there and look. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Because when it floods, it's going to,
Yeah, it would definitely fill up the inlet boxes
right.
to the point where it would start pushing the water out. I've never seen, it used to exist just like that. There was inlets there before. I've never seen it to where it pushed water out of the inlets, but my guess is it's flooding at other places
I've seen
before it
that.
does that.
But not
That's
there.
what I said, but when it does that, it's ready to crest over the top.
Then everything
Yeah,
else is,
okay.
yeah.
All righty, thank you. West Lincoln Avenue project, Columbia Gas.
Yeah, so we have the design complete to the point where Columbia Gas is under construction and Gettysburg Municipal Authority is ready to bid their part of the project. Once we get our part of this design to the point where we can bid it, we'll be just basically waiting for them to get to the point where we know when our construction window is going to be, because we're last in this process, right? So Columbia Gas is under construction, GMA is going to be going out to bid this spring, and then once we know they're going to be done out of our way, then we'll put our project out to bid, and it'll probably be sometime this summer, fall.
So when does GMA think they're going to start digging?
This summer. I don't know an exact date. They're supposed to be bidding in the spring and construction in the summer. That was the rough, time frame.
Yeah, and I know Mike Martz from Columbia Gas, I talked to him. He said probably in a month and a half, 2 months, they'll be headed out Old Harrisburg Road,
And how far out are they going,
all
Rob?
the way out to Sheeler Road behind the school.
Okay,
Actually, they're out on Sheeler Road coming this direction, plus working on Lincoln Avenue, starting to go out
okay.
that direction.
And are they connecting that new housing development out there?
Can't answer that, I don't know.
Something Meadows.
Courtney.
Courtney Meadows, yeah.
Could
there you
be,
go.
I'm not 100%
Yeah, I would
sure.
think if they're going right by the front door of it. So, okay. Any questions? We continue to watch the construction there in that neck of the woods.
Yep, everything's pretty much moving along just like we suspected.
This Gettysburg Middle School stormwater management, you reported on it last month.
Yeah, so, and this would be my final update on this project. We're
Okay.
basically done with this. This project, of course, the Gettysburg Middle School was built 5 years ago or so, and we've never,
More.
right?
10.
So we never finalized this stormwater as-built drawings. They never closed out the NPDS permits. There were some things lagging for years after years. We finally got all that taken care of. We're good with the as-built. I presented last month that they have agreed to accept an ownership of all the storm drains, including the ones under Lefevre Street, which tie into their facilities. And that big 6-foot diameter pipe that conveys the water of what's Culp's Run or Weinbrenner Run.
Weinbrenner.
Yep, Weinbrenner, and it turns into where our Culp Stream restoration was at, that piece in between there, that 6-foot pipe, they've agreed to taking the ownership of that. So everything's good to go with that. We just got their termination of their NPDS permit last month. And we got a confirmation, this doesn't relate to the Stormwater Authority, but all their property corners have been set. That was one of the other items that was on the financial security. So they'll be asking for the Borough Council to release financial security probably next month, and then that project will be finally done, so.
Okay, and the paperwork and all the sign-offs and so forth, who has that? The borough?
So, so the stormwater agreements still go to the borough, the Borough Council. So that was already addressed with the Borough Council.
Okay, good. Any questions?
So that'll be probably removed from your agenda at this point. I think everything's
Should be,
good with it.
We've talked, we've talked a
beat
lot
that horse to
about
death.
it in 2 months. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's
yeah.
all good. Any other comments on the townhomes on East Water Street, right? This is.
Yep, so that's the same thing as the special presentation for the Simrat townhomes that we just talked about, so I don't have anything addition to add.
Okay, any comments? Med Ed status of punctured storm water.
There is an update on this topic with your advice last month, if you remember. I informed you I had sent a letter to Met Ed in late January. Your suggestion was to give them a month to respond. They did not, and so I sent an email, which all of you and the council were copied on, asking for a response, and should they not by, I think I gave them a deadline of like the 8th of March or something, I forget the exact date, maybe it was Friday the 6th, that we would intend to pursue all legal means, including a formal complaint to the PUC. And I also, I'll tell the public now and you that with that email correspondence was a blind carbon copy to Dan Mao's office. And so this is now on Dan Mal's radar as well, and we have received communication from Dan Mal's office asking the status of a response. And so what I informed them, and I'm ready to inform you, is we did receive a response from MedEd. They have opened a case file on this and submitted it to their claims adjuster, whoever that may be,
Right.
and asked for follow-up information from the engineer. So it's now on their radar. There's a formal claim number, and they're going through their process, whatever that process may be. I don't really know,
Okay.
but they're looking into it.
All right. Well, Chad, have you been contacted by them?
Yes, yeah, and I was included in the same correspondent that Charles was talking about, that they requested information, and I did respond to them already, so they have, it was just they wanted some email correspondence, some pictures,
Right.
what the date of when it was done, so we provided that information to them, so they're looking into it.
Good, good. Well, it's a good sign that you've been contacted, and they seem to be on it. All right. We will keep this on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, and we'll definitely be following up
Yeah.
as well. Because if you remember, we wanted them to remediate this by summer.
Right, well, yeah,
We know that's
that's not gonna,
not going to happen, but yeah.
but we gotta stay on them.
Right.
Comments, questions? No?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay?
I know what John's thinking.
know.
There's other things we could go to the PUC about.
I can make a lot.
Look, it coming. I guess I'm next. Meeting dates, switch to every other month. The answer to that, I believe, is yes. I think that's what we all wanted. So that would mean May, July, September, November schedule.
And you advertised all months of the year.
Yes, we did.
So-
So we would have to.
A backup if
back-
you.
Yeah, because it would be no to April, June, August, October, and December, the way it sits now.
And so one of the strategies, from what I can remember, of having it advertised for all of the months was,
Go ahead.
if you do have a stormwater application and we're up against a deadline, an MPC deadline or something like that, then we could meet.
Yes, we could.
To address it.
Right.
But otherwise, those odd months would get canceled.
Do you want me to put a cancellation up for April now, or do you want me to wait?
I think April is probably okay to cancel.
And then we'll determine May if we need
Right.
June and do it month by
Right.
month, and then I can just put it on the calendar that it's canceled. So
Right.
just let me know when you want me to do that.
Okay. We'll try to do it at every meeting to decide whether we're going to meet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
We're going to say no, but in case we have to say yes, it's already covered. Okay. Any questions about that? Not hearing. New business, Stevens Run Channel Wall, Carlisle to Gillian Design. Where we are with some of the questions that have been posed in the comment period. But go ahead, Chad, this is going to be yours.
Yep, and I do have a good bit of information to provide to you tonight on this project. Let me first start with, and this touches a little bit on one of Mohammed's questions about the cost of the wall. The Stormwater Authority has set a process for applying for grant applications through what is the PA flood mitigation. It used to be the H2O grant. If you can remember that, we applied for that $500,000, and then they switched it to the flood mitigation grant. It's still $500,000. We applied twice now, been denied both times. The first time was for a construction project. The second time was for the design of what we're calling Priority 2. Priority 2 is behind Gettysburg Glass, between Water Street and 4th Street. So that was just for the design of Priority 2. That was denied as well. So, and the idea was to start, the Stormwater Authority went ahead with the design of Priority Area 1, which is Carlisle to Gilliland, thinking that if we can get that design done before this next grant application, it would make more sense to apply for construction funds than engineering funds. Engineering funds are always harder to get and harder to administer.
Right.
So the construction is a little bit more straightforward, especially when you have an engineered drawing with cost estimates. So at this point, the update is that we do have the designs, I'm going to call them 90% complete. But the big item for the 10% remaining is because on the north side, and this also answers one of Muhammad's questions, is it is for both sides of the stream. The north side is right beside that 3 or 4 story building that was the Ugly Mug.
Right.
And we aren't 100% sure that we'll be able to replace that wall without doing some helical piles. There's 2 different options of how we're going to do that wall. We need to get access to that building and find out what kind of a basement they have. There would be good news, bad news. If they have a basement and its own wall that's supporting the 4-story building, then there's a potential we can tear down the Tiber wall because the basement wall would be holding up the building and its footers. If they don't have a basement, then what we're going to have to do is put the helical piles in. But the good news is then is you won't be running your helical piles into somebody's basement. So one way or the other, we need to get access to that building before we can finalize that side of the design. But aside from that, the design is pretty much done. The next step in that process is to start meeting with the property owners. So I'm glad Muhammad's here tonight, and I understand and I apologize to Muhammad for he's tried to call me a couple times over the past 2 weeks, and I've been dealing with some personal issues at home. So I think most of you are aware of my situation, but back on my feet now, and starting to return some calls. So I'll be following up with Muhammad here to get a meeting scheduled with him to not only go over the design, but also to start looking at the right-of-ways. So as you can remember, and just an update for Muhammad and anybody that's thinking about these Tiber walls, is all of the properties go out to the center line of the stream. And we haven't found anything that suggests that the borough owns or has a responsibility for any of these walls. They are essentially the property owner's walls. The Stormwater Authority has also, though, said that it feels like something that the Stormwater Authority should take the lead on, because if these things fail, then a lot of people in the borough get burdened by this, not just that property owner. So it's something the Stormwater Authority wants to be proactive with, especially if it means we can get a grant application, we can get grant money.
Right.
Private property owners have harder times getting grant money than public entities. Usually it's a 501c3 or a municipal government that is applying for a grant. So if we can get a right-of-way from the property owner for these walls, then we can apply for a grant and hopefully get public funding to replace these walls. So that's the goal. There's nothing set in stone yet that we're going to get this grant money. But if we do get the grant money, the idea is to use that grant money, obviously, to replace the wall. Pat, you have a question?
Yeah, the right-of-way, is that an easement? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so the word easement and right-of-way are interchangeable. I don't want to play municipal solicitor here. I'll let Adam do that, but that's typically...
There's overlap between
They're not the same.
They're not 100% the same, but whenever you look at what we are clear on is not ownership. It's not fee simple title. We're not like going to take title of the property. It's just an easement or a right-of-way over private property for the purposes of maintenance and rebuilding of the wall.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed had a question about floodplain, too.
So, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Move on.
Okay.
We'll
get to
so
that.
the engineering, ballpark, what's that cost?
I think I estimated that at around 50,000.
That's what I
I did
remember.
give you guys an estimate on that a while back, and I don't think we're anywhere close to that. But that included some design and some right-of-way research. So,
And then you have several options here, but let's just take the most costly option. What do you think?
I think the latest cost estimate that I've been seeing is seeing Jared's my structural engineer, was over 600,000 for that wall.
And that's to the bridge, from one bridge to the other.
Yeah, it's from Carlisle Street over to the Gilliland Alley Bridge.
Right.
And a little bit shorter, because like Muhammad said, there is some sections right beside the Gilliland Alley Bridge. It's perfectly good concrete. We're not going to
very good, right.
Yeah, we're not going to tear out really good walls and put in a new one. It's only the areas where there's old masonry that's kind of falling in that we would replace. So that's kind of the gist. It's somewhere, I'm going to say, to $600,000 to $700,000 for the construction. And we can only apply for $500,000 for our grant application. So there still would be a
Grants,
balance.
This is a federal grant or state? grant?
State, yeah, flood mitigation, PA state flood mitigation grant.
Okay, so has anybody, which includes any of us, but discussed this with our state representatives at all?
We have, from what I understand, we have not done a lot of lobbying in the past with this process. Most of those lobbying efforts were put towards, the Baltimore Street revitalization project, which benefits the borough, the Stormwater Authority, Gettysburg Municipal Authority, so there was kind of a combined effort for that.
Well, I say that only because Dan Mao's name was mentioned for something else, and I don't know.
Certainly wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't hurt.
Okay, so,
And to be clear, what I want to say with that is C.S. Davidson can put together those grant applications. You need to do engineering one way or the other. You need to have a cost estimate, but there are lobbying firms that do that. C.S. Davidson doesn't do that. We're apolitical, so we won't reach out to a specific, Democrat or Republican to see if we can get support. That'll be something that either the board would have to do, or you would hire Cozen O'Connor or GNS Funding Solutions or somebody like that would be able to do that lobbying and talk to the politicians. It's always a good idea, but there is usually a cost associated with that unless you do it yourself. Over the years, right? Pat knows Susan did a lot of that legwork herself for different grant applications, so that doesn't cost the borough as much money then in that case. But
Pat, you had a
Okay,
question?
so, is there any attempt here to look at this from a holistic standpoint, as in flood mitigation? Are we gonna increase the cross-sectional area there so that drains faster than it comes in from upstream? Is it at least gonna stay the same cross-section? I mean, is there some thought there?
there is, yeah, a good question, and I think Mohammed had a similar question as to the floodplain on his property. In the perfect world, I would hope that we can revise the opening just enough to get that floodplain off of Mohammed's property. My gut's telling me that we will be able to do that, but until we have all of the H&H analysis and everything done with that, I can't be sure of that. And until we get the permitting through DEP, I can't be sure of that. But I'm fairly confident that we're going to be able to get close.
Okay, so what I hear you say is you can't be sure that you'd make it better. Can you assure me that you won't make it worse?
Yeah, so right, so double-edged sword. Yeah, and that's a great question that Pat's asking. So, yeah, right. So what he's getting at is sometime you can increase an opening and decrease the flood elevations here, but now you just pushed it onto the downstream property owner, right?
Right.
So we don't think that's going to happen in this case because we are bound on both sides by a bridge, and that's what's controlling the opening for the most part. It's the Carlisle Street Bridge and the Gilliland Alley Bridge that is really the controlling factors. So even if we do increase it a little bit to be able to get the floodplain off of Mohammed's property, it's still going to hit that bridge. That's the next restrictive opening. We're not planning on making it any bigger than that bridge. Right now, it's actually skinnier than that bridge, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The bridge is actually a little bit wider whenever you go past, like, the width of the wall where you go past the old Late Night Spites building. It then widens out a little bit at the bridge.
Okay.
We're not going to be going any wider than that bridge. That bridge is the next restrictive factor before it goes underneath of the college's buildings there.
So, yeah, so what I hear you saying, we're gonna do our best to mitigate that flood.
To mitigate the flooding that's on Mohammed's property.
Right.
I want to say I feel confident that we'll be able to do it, but I don't want to promise that until we get through the actual design and
The
finalize
engineering
everything.
process,
Yeah. But we're certainly looking into it, and we're giving it a try if we can.
Okay.
So I think the only other question that Mohammed had was,
Yeah, who paid?
oh wait, no, I think we hit them all.
think-
Only the concrete sections, it's both sides, the ugly mug. We talked about the floodplain, we talked about the money is that we're going to be applying for a grant.
Right.
So,
Small part of this question. My small Beanie Shoes building, small room is over there. That is almost 2-3 feet away from the wall. You people are not considering to demolish that one. I don't want to demolish, I want to keep that one.
So yeah, the current, you're talking about that Late Night Bites building? Is that what you're talking? Yeah.
You're right,
Yep,
you're right.
yep. So the current design, it would be difficult for us to replace the wall without demolishing that building. It'll probably cost more money to keep that building and replace the wall under it. So we would like to demolish the building.
Actually, if you like to demolish that one, you have to demolish the ugly mug also. Both are at the same distance.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, is the Ugly Mug building, yeah.
Well, yeah, and until we get in there and find out what the story is,
Yeah.
this
That-
is just what if
That's
situation.
probably a conversation. So Mohammed, we're going to have to reach out to Mohammed anyways because we got to get right of ways and stuff. We'll have meetings with you. We'll show you our design plans. We'll go over the different options and stuff. But
Beside the building, my building, Night Bite building,
Mhm.
that is a concrete part.
Mhm.
That is almost up to Carlisle Street Bridge.
Yep.
That is a solid concrete wall. It is cemented properly
Yep.
and there is no destruction or wear and tear beside the building or after that.
yeah, and I kind of agree with that assessment. Underneath of the Late Night Bites building is a pretty good section of wall. It's concrete.
Yes.
But that section is skinnier than the bridge opening. So in order for us to fix the floodplain issue, that wall would have to get widened.
So
And it-
you will pay me money for that one to use my land?
Well, and that's going to be something for the stormwater authority is going to have to take up. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't. as the
that's the
engineer.
issue of right-of-way.
Yes.
Because, and I'll say this and I'll turn to our legal counsel. Right now, technically, you own to the middle of the stream.
Yep.
And so,
Technically, yes, you are right.
And so, what we're looking for is to get a right-of-way from you to replace wall up and down your side, well, on both sides of the stream, to get in there to do that. We're trying to assume as much expense as we can through grants. But this all remains, I mean, these are all plans. So we're doing our best to plan. We can't promise you that once we get in there, once the engineers look at the volume, look at the size of the wall, where the wall is and what can be done, that maybe the Late Night Bites wall will have to go. We don't know that
So
yet. But you better be prepared that
It
that
will
might
be
happen.
gone from both sides, not only from my side.
Right.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Equal-
Both sides have to.
Both sides. If the both sides go, it's okay, no problem, I have no issue.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because
then we will
the
see
other
that.
side's in rough shape.
More rough shape is other side.
I
Correct.
agree with you.
Correct.
Pat?
Okay, what I heard Mohammed say is he gonna be paid for the right of way?
Right now, we're paying nobody for anything. We're just.
Nobody's paid anything because there's nothing to pay yet.
No,
yeah,
just
no.
to make it clear.
Right. No one, we're just trying now to investigate and then,
You don't know what the project's going to be at this point to determine what's going to need to
I
happen
was
where.
thinking you people are going to demolish that one right now. So I was worried about that one, so I came here. Thank you for.
okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're good. So, any other comments or questions about that?
No, I think the only other thing is to make sure that I'm clear that I have, so the last component of that was that grant applications component. I want to make sure that I have the authorization to start pulling that grant application together for this priority 1 section, Carlisle to Gilliland, for the construction of that section. If we waited until 2 months from now, that won't give me enough time to get it done. It's due by the end of May. So our next meeting is until May.
Would you like a motion to approve that?
Does that take a motion to authorize the engineer? I mean, I don't know that it hurts to have one.
I don't think it hurts to authorize you to do,
To pull together the grant application.
Well,
And what I was in-
the question is, in
Sorry.
my mind is it in the budget?
that's what I was going to say.
You mean the cost for them to
Yes.
do that?
Is there any match required for any of this?
Well, first question is it in the budget? And if there is, what are the budget assumptions for this project?
I think to answer your question specifically, is it in the budget specifically? I would say no. Have we talked about it for a long time? The answer is yes. We're getting around to it now. Chad, can you give us an estimate of what this?
Yes, so whenever you ask, is it in the budget, are you talking about the construction costs, or are you talking about the
Engineering costs.
application?
Cost.
Cost.
All the above. I mean, total.
So you do
The
have,
budget would have a total cost for the project.
yep, so you do have it in your budget this year for the engineering. That is in the budget. It doesn't necessarily specifically say for that grant application, but you do have budgeted for engineering this year. You do not have budgeted the construction. Now, that won't,
That
even if we
won't
got,
happen in this year.
typically we're finding out somewhere around December, January. So it would be next year's budget at best that you would have to budget for the construction. I do believe there's a 20% match. So, and if the cost is $600,000, you still need to come up with $100,000 anyways, plus the 20% of the $500,000.
Right.
So there still would be a financial commitment by someone to fund that balance. So there's two different components of this authorization. Part of the authorization is that we can pull together the grant application. It's not a heavy lift. We've done these, I think it was only a couple $1,000s last time, maybe $2,400 or something like that, I think is how much it cost for the last grant application, because we've done them a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, it's really, I think the bigger part of the question
The match
is,
and-
if you get the grant, don't apply for the grant, maybe is Pat's point,
Big
don't
if.
apply for the grant unless you know that you're gonna fund that balance.
My point is, we have a budget, and if we vary from that, we ought to have a discussion, a budget discussion. That's it.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. And I think we will have that discussion with the New Year's budget, because if we get it, that'll be a discussion that I would love to have. Because then we'll be on the road to making some progress. I just had one other thing about the project, and that is about the right-of-ways. Is Adam involved from a legal side on the right-of-ways?
Yes.
As we
Well,
approach these homeowners?
He hasn't been, but I want him to be, yes.
But, yeah,
Well,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah, we're just gonna do it and turn to you and say, make it legal, right, yeah. But,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah, I fully intend to reach, like I said, we just are finishing up with the design now, and the next step is to work with Adam on getting those right-of-way agreements
Okay.
drafted up.
And I imagine you're gonna have different types of easements. Rights of way are types of easements. That term, right of way, is kind of a more informal term. But you'll probably have an access easement for construction, then you'll probably have a permanent easement for clean out, maintenance, that sort of stuff.
Right.
But you'll probably need some breathing room to get in there and do temporary work, over a period of months, and then a more permanent, narrower lane.
Yeah, just have an interim MOU or whatever with the landowner saying, I grant you access to go in and design, et cetera. But the easement would be part of the deed, because the next owner.
Right.
Right, it'd be permanent, that'd
Yeah.
be permanently, yeah.
That runs with the land, it's not, you want it to run with the land, you don't want
Yeah.
that to be a personal agreement between you and that property owner.
Right, okay.
And
Okay.
I did have one other thing to update you on that is, so we've been talking a lot about grants. In our processes, we have talked about the fact that this is $6 million worth of walls that we have to replace up and down Stevens Run,
Yeah.
and that doesn't fit in our budget very well. So the other option is loans, and Penvest is the cheapest loan. What we're finding out, I think Mike and I kind of gave you guys some updates on this, is that Penvest will not fund this project because it is a stream, quote unquote stream. Even though it's got hardened walls and hardened bottom, it's still a stream. So we would have to either unclassify it as a stream, as not a stream, and make it part of the stormwater conveyance system, or we can't use Penvest funding as a loan source. There are other loans options. When we started looking into unclassifying this, and so in other words, I'll use the argument that a stormwater pipe, Penvest will fund. Even if it's square, they still will fund it. Even if it's square without a top on it, they'll still fund it. If it's truly a conveyance pipe.
Right.
At what point, how big does that pipe get to be where it's not a pipe anymore, now it's a stream? Stevens Run is a stream, not a pipe. Even where it's square and has hard concrete walls and concrete bottom. So the problem is the way that DEP has for designating streams has always been the other way around. You reach out to them to ask them to actually designate a stream or name a stream. There is no process for undesignating a stream. So we really hit a dead end whenever we started doing our research with that. So aside from reaching out to DEP and having a meeting with them, we're not sure how much further we're going to get with that. So I have a little report pulled together. I'm going to send it to you guys so you can see, our thoughts from at this point, or at least how much progress we made. But before we go any further and spend any more money on this, we want to make sure that we're having a discussion with you guys on, is this even worth our time or effort, because we're kind of hitting a dead end.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's designated a stream, but where's it designated? Like, I can show you chapter 93 where they have stream designations or protection level, blah, 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 but is it there, or is it in some other index?
As far as I know, the Chapter 93 designations, the entire thing, all the way from Rock Creek out till Pickett's Charge. And we had some correspondence back and forth with that Tessera from Penvest, and that's where she's basically saying that the whole thing is designated as a stream. So I could
So it's
maybe
based
find
on
out.
Chapter 93?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that Chapter 93 designation is kind of a similar type of thing. Whenever you look in the definition of a stream, PennDOT, I always say PennDOT, DEP goes back to their definition of defined bed and bank, right? So they start there. So a bank it's clearly defined. It clearly has a defined bed, but is the embankment, that's the question that we have. And they always fall back to that definition.
Right, and Chad and I have discussed this ad nauseum sometime, but the real bottom line is, whatever it's called, we want to try to find a grant that fits it. Whether it's a stream or a conveyance, whether it's flood mitigation, whatever's out there, we want to see if we fit into those criteria. The idea of reclassifying it was just one potential option, but heck, if the Army Corps of Engineers has something, or the state does.
It could be a lot of things. It could be municipal planning code would have
Yeah.
definitions, and but if you're gonna figure out if you can change it, you have to know where it's defined.
Where it came
and what the
from.
rules are for changing. And,
Right.
Yeah, and we did that research. We found out what the rules are. We found out how it's defined. Penvest sent us the link to the DEP website on where this is all found. So we've chased that down and kind of hit a dead end. But I think Mike's point is a valid one, and this is where maybe the lobbying component comes back into the discussion. A conversation with Dan Mao, and that, hey, we've been trying to apply for grants now 2 times. We're going to apply again a 3rd time. We're not getting any help with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to the state to get a loan that we're going to have to pay back, and now we can't get any help with that either.
Right.
So,
Or it could be a good thing, if it is designated a stream, that it may be eligible under cap funding with
maybe, yeah,
Correct.
That's how we funded Culp's Run.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
Right.
just saying
There-
there's stuff.
that's right. That's exactly right, and we have to start investigating that. And so, Charles, at some point, I'll have a sidebar with you about, visiting maybe some of our state representatives and getting a small entourage to, give a presentation maybe and ask for their help.
Yeah, that's a good point that that Pat made about the cap funding. I mean, I think we got 180,000 or something. It's not going to pay for the whole bridge. I
Right.
mean, the whole restoration, but it's,
Funding's like 300,000 a year, I think.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Fund there.
Okay, so we'll definitely pursue that. Thank you. Any other questions about that particular part? And Karen, can you make sure that that's a separate, even though it's not on the agenda specifically, that that's carved out in your notes as an item?
Did you intend to make a motion?
Oh, yes, thank you. We would like to make a motion, I think, to permit C.S. Davidson to pursue the grant with the state. What are we calling it? The
flood mitigation
grant?
and this would just be an authorization to authorize the engineer to develop the grant application. I would still come to you in May to get your authorization to submit.
Okay.
And at that point, you'll know exactly how much we're submitting, get some better budgeting numbers, what you would be committed to the following year, because there would be a commitment to
Right.
that match money, those kind of things. But I would just start pulling together the application over the course of the next 2 months.
So,
So the motion is just to authorize the engineer to prepare, but not necessarily to submit at this point.
Correct.
prepare.
Discussion.
Yes, go.
Could we broaden that to include the cap funding and other potential funding sources?
Yes,
Potentially,
I
yeah.
mean, we can,
Well,
we
it's a
we can
motion,
broaden
right?
it, we can broaden it to say, and we'll consider all possible funding sources.
That'll cover it.
Yeah. Karen, do you have any idea what we just said?
Motion to authorize the engineer to prepare the Pennsylvania flood mitigation grant application and to consider all possible funding sources.
Grant funding sources.
All possible
Grant funding source.
funding.
I would say relative to the Stevens Run.
Yeah,
channel
relative
wall.
to
Yep.
Stevens Run channel walls.
Okay.
Relative to Stevens Run channel walls. Good job.
Formerly known as Gettysburg.
Formerly known as Getty's Run, that's right.
You call it what
Kidding.
you
You don't have to put that in
Don't
there.
put that, kidding.
People will go crazy.
Okay, does someone make that motion?
Yeah, formerly known as the Tiber and Getty's Run, but anyway.
Who made the motion, she wants to know?
Did anybody make that motion?
I'll make that
Okay,
motion.
Mike.
Was there a second?
I'll second it.
Pat seconds it. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Not hearing any? Go for it.
Go forth, ye.
Okay. Public comment, no public comment. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, folks, thank you very much. See you in 2 months. That's right.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order this business meeting for the Borough of Gettysburg for Monday, March 9th, 2026. Please all rise and join us for a moment of silence and a pledge to the flag.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Apologize for my voice this evening. I'm got a stupid cold. I may have to hand this over to Ms. Sanders at some point. An executive session was conducted by the Borough Council of the Borough of Gettysburg immediately following the adjournment of its work session meeting held on February 23rd, 2026, consistent with Section 708A1 and Section 708A5 of the Sunshine Act. An executive session of the Borough Council will be conducted immediately following the adjournment of this evening's monthly general business meeting, consistent with Section 708A1 and Section 708A5 of the Sunshine Act for the following purposes. 1, to provide updated information and to discuss matters involving the employment or appointment of current or prospective borough employees, and to provide information and to discuss a pending PHRC complaint filed by former borough employee. And 2, to review and discuss matters of borough business, which, if conducted in public, could lead to the disclosure of information or confidentiality protected by law. We're going to start this evening a little bit out of order from how we usually run our meetings. We have some special business ahead of us. The first item of business on Tuesday evening, I received via electronic communication the resignation of Mr. Chad Allen Carr as mayor of Gettysburg. When we need to have a motion to accept that resignation. Would anybody care to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Chad Allen Carr from the elected office of Mayor of the Borough of Gettysburg as tendered in writing by Mr. Carr on March 3rd, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor. Ms. Stull, could you please call a roll call vote?
Peter Bales?
Aye.
Mr. Berger?
Aye.
Ms. Mayers?
Aye.
Mr. Mooney?
Aye.
Mr. Rio?
Aye.
Ms. Sanders?
Aye.
Mr. Moon?
Aye. So, much like when we have a vacancy on council, the Borough Code does not give us a specific procedure to follow. They sort of trust us to make it up as we go along on this. The technique that we have employed the last few times we've had a vacancy is to simply allow members of the public to apply. So I would propose to council that that's what we do this time. Does anybody have any objection to us following the same procedure we used to fill the at-large seat? Any objection, Mr. Rio?
No.
Okay. So for the benefit of the public, what that means is this. As we have just accepted the resignation officially, the vacancy has now been created. And at this moment, we have 30 days to appoint somebody to that seat. In order to do that in a timely manner, Gettysburg being a borough that tends to get things done, we'd like to do it in a speedier timeline if we can. We will open up applications effective immediately. We will close them 1 week from today, so that'll be close of business, 5 p.m. on Monday, the 16th. Application forms are available. You can contact a Borough Council member, or you can contact Sarah Stahl, Secretary, directly. Those will be emailed to you. They'll need to be returned to us by 5 p.m. Monday. At that point, once we have a selection of applications in front of us, we will send each of those applicants a list of questions we would like them to ponder, and we'll ask them to prepare a public statement. Those statements will be delivered at a special meeting whose time we are about to set on March 23rd. Does anybody have any objection to that plan?
No.
At that meeting, we will listen to each presentation, we will deliberate publicly, we will vote publicly, and we will seat a new mayor that evening. Would anybody care to make a motion to set the special meeting?
Sure. A motion to set a special meeting of the Borough Council on Monday, March 23rd, 2026, commencing at 5:30 p.m. for the purpose of appointing a qualified registered elector of the borough as mayor in order to fill the vacancy in that elective office due to the resignation of Mr. Carr.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that meeting is set for 5:30 on the 23rd. So once again, if you're interested in service to your borough, please contact either a member of council or the secretary for a copy of that application. You'll have 1 week to return it to us. To be a qualified elector of the Borough of Gettysburg, you must live within the borough boundary. You must have lived here for 1 full year. You must be a registered voter. What are there other qualifications, Mr. Eastman?
No.
Okay. And if you have any questions about your qualification, please feel free to reach out to us. The mayor's office is an interesting position under the borough code. We live under a strong council, weak mayor system. The mayor's office has very limited authority and responsibility. They work very closely with this council and with the government, and most specifically with the police department. So if you believe you have skills to bring to bear for your community, this is the time to think about stepping up for it. All right. We'll move on to the approval of agenda and minutes. I would take a motion to approve the
Make
March.
a motion to approve the March 9th, 2026 agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. We have an agenda. I would take a motion to approve minutes of the council meeting of February 9th, 2026, and the council work session held February 23rd, 2026 as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any corrections, omissions, errors, or additions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. That takes us to our first public comment section of the evening. This first section is restricted to items appearing on tonight's agenda. We ask that you use the podium. Please state your name and address of residence. Please limit yourself to 5 minutes. If you would like to speak on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda, there will be an opportunity for that at the end of the meeting. Public comment. All right, I'm seeing none. We'll begin current and old business this evening with Mr. Whitmore in the Planning Department.
Good evening. The report was provided electronically. In addition, the annual report for 2025 was also included. Nothing real note. Some of the numbers were down with regards to total construction costs that occurred in the borough. That's to be expected given some of the higher than, well, the unique, school construction projects that occurred last year that may be skewing the numbers. But overall, most of the numbers are firm or are actually trending to be slightly the same. With regards to the the CATS ordinance, that's something that staff has also been working on, making sure that we're coordinating with Forever Love Rescue to ensure that the program that they use to trap and spay or neuter cats, they actually can operate with that, and making sure that we're providing a means for that program to be effective. So that's all of the report.
All right, any questions for Mr. Whitmore? All right. We'll move on to historic and environmental preservation. Ms. English?
Thank you. You have my manager's report. There are several motions on the agenda. I also wanted to remind everyone, we have a shred event scheduled for May 15th, and we will be doing our e-cycle turn-in event this fall. The date is to be determined once we get our new trash haulers situated in April. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, so we have a series of hard motions under historic preservation. Would anybody care to, I'm sorry, does anybody have any questions for Ms. English before we get into motions? All right, would anybody care to start making those motions?
Sure. I make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA 26-00024, major project, 128 York Street, Michael Cannon, for the window gas meter placement project, conditioned that the plant boxes be returned to the front of the porch between the columns as a screen for the existing placement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next one.
I'll make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA 26-00026, major project, 17 Mummasburg Street, Harry Stokes, for the exterior stucco work and foundation work to include the repointing of the stone basement inside and out, and to remove the exterior stucco to reveal the wood siding and replace siding as needed.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next motion.
Make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA 26-00066, major project 110 Chambersburg Street, Jacob Schindel, for the exterior project to include the construction of a new brick archway on the east front property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, please.
I'll make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA 26-00006, major project, 132 East Middle Street, Philip Goebel, for the window replacement project to include the replacement of 10 original windows and 3 vinyl windows in kind with a Fibrix composite material made of wood and vinyl, provided that the applicant property owners can utilize a full light window style if they choose.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next.
I make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA 26-00029, major project, 34 West Middle Street, Rich Finkenbeiner, for the window and door replacement project resulting damage caused by a structure fire to include the replacement of 3 windows, 2 front sliding windows, and 1 west side double hung vinyl window.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last HARB motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the HARB new business recommendation for COA 26-00022, major project, 29 East Middle Street, Darren Glass, for the new garage reconstruction project of a new 16 feet by 21 feet garage in the same footprint, which will mimic a 1920 style and pick up the design elements of the existing home.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Any questions before Ms. English before we move on? All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The parking department, Mr. Gable.
The borough had a banner year last year in our parking revenue. The revenue did fall $10,000 from January of 2025. I suspect, without any proof, that that would be related to the. I don't have it open. I did have it open, but I closed it. I could show that to you in a minute. But I suspect that that was related to the brutally cold January, snowy January that we had. But record numbers for last year.
Any questions about parking? All right. Public Works, Mr. Harbaugh.
Good evening. You should have received my report. A couple highlights on that report for the public is last year in 2025 we collected 120 loads of brush at 8.6 cubic yards, total of 1,032 cubic yards of brush collected for recycling last year. Same way with leaves, we collected 53 loads at 14 cubic yards a load. At 742 cubic yards of leaves collected for recycling last year. And we just got finished picking up 163 Christmas trees from the past holiday season for this year. We did have an agility meeting for our agility projects. They'll be starting them next month periodically throughout the year. The first one will be our spring street sweeping project, which includes our town and other municipalities. So we'll be starting on that by the end of the month, hopefully. And we do have a streetlight issue on Baltimore Street. I don't know if you noticed that the streetlights might have been doing some funky things. And we investigated and we found a broke conduit and a broken wire, which is gonna cause us to have to do some rewiring and conduit issues, but we have a temporary wire in place as of now, and the lights have been working okay. And you'll notice there's a barrel and some orange cones up at the intersection of Baltimore Middle by the traffic signal to sort of protect the wire that's going into the box in the ground. We ran an overhead wire is what we did. Yeah. Temporary.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Harbaugh? Thank you, sir.
If I may go back to parking, here's the graph that President Moon was asking about. 106,000 in the January of this year compared to 117,000 in 2025. But the record down here for the year is just about 1.5 million.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Claybaugh.
Good evening, Council. You should have a copy of my written report. A couple of things to update you on before I get into the motions that are on the agenda. I gave you an update on the Gettysburg Interlope Phase B2 project. As you know, that project was finished in the fall. We made our final payment in December, but it's been hanging on in my report for a couple months to finalize all of the grant closeout paperwork. As you can imagine, that takes a little while. So Charles and I have been corresponding with DCNR diligently, and we should finally get that grant payments to $252,000 grant payment should be coming to the borough here shortly. And as soon as we get that, I'll be removing that item from my engineer's report. We'll call that project done. And I also gave you a couple of updates under the subdivision land development plan review section of my report. We have a new townhome development on Water Street, and of course the Gettysburg Station project. We've been doing reviews, both stormwater management reviews and land development reviews on those, and those will be discussed at the Planning Commission meeting in depth. So with that brings me to the focus of my report, which is the agenda items for both related to the 2026 street improvements and preservation contracts. I did present this at a previous Borough Council workshop. If you can remember that one of the decisions that the council made at that time was to bid Constitution as an alternate. We did it that way. So we got bids both with and without Constitution. Some good news, bad news. So, and they relate to the two motions as they're read. The good news is for the street improvement contracts, we got pretty good bids, which is good news because that is the project that involves the Steinware crosswalks. That's the one in front of Tommy's Pizza and the one in front of Dobbin House. We got good bids this time, a little over $50,000 to replace those crosswalks. When we did the same thing 2 years ago and we didn't award it, was $79,000. So a savings there. That's the good news. The only thing out of that, so you do have my recommendation to award that contract. It also comes with all the mill and fill repairs associated with the street work. There was one curb ramp that they bid at just over $10,000 to fix a little bit, this tiny little water pocket in the front of it, which we think should have been more around $3,000 or $3,500. The other contractors that bid on this was around $3,500 for that. That's the one item that we would like to eliminate moving forward. So I'll have a separate discussion with you at your next month's meeting to do a change order to remove that one item. But for tonight, the simple decision there is my recommendation to award that contract to the low bidder, JVI Group, and I gave you their lump sum bid amount there. And I did distribute the bid tabulation. I just remind you that we keep that confidential until a contract is in place in case we have to rebid. That protects the unit prices from all the contractors. The second part of this, the not so good news, is that we only received one bid for the street preservation work. That on its face isn't alone the reason why my recommendation to reject the bid. Borough Solicitor and I have talked about this in the past. If you publicly advertise a project and you only get one bidder, you still publicly advertise it. Other contractors have picked up the bids. They knew about the project. They could have submitted bids. That is one factor, though. It's not the only factor on why I'm recommending that you deny that bid. That's just one of the factors. The bigger reason is because the bids weren't great. One of the line items, for instance, is the exact same contractor that we just did the exact same treatment in Bonnieville last summer was 90% higher. So we don't have a good reason why that was the case. And we don't know why there's other four bidders that typically, there's three other ones. There's four contractors that usually bid on this kind of thing. Three of them didn't submit bids, and we're not sure why. So we would like an opportunity to reach out to those contractors, find out why they didn't bid, go through some of these bid items. There was pretty high numbers on the crack sealant. We aren't understanding why exactly the crack sealant came in so high. If it continues to be so high, that might be something that we might do in-house. The borough's public works crew does have the ability to do some crack sealing much cheaper than what the bids we got for it. And then there was also another line item for this it's a crack sealing tape that they roll out. We were expecting that to come in around $1,000. It came in at $5,000. There's a few items like that. Not to get too far into the weeds. The bottom line is we would like to rebid that part of the project. The other thing is schedule-wise, by awarding, just like I had recommended, to get the first part of this, the first contract awarded, that lets us move forward with the Steinway crosswalks. That was the thing that was we wanted to get done before the 250th anniversary events. That's where a lot of the tourism and stuff is out at Steinway and at the Dobbin House and Tommy's Pizza. The second part of this contract, you can't do it until the first part of the contract's done anyways. So we have time. In other words, if we have to reopen this in a month or two from now, it's not going to matter any. So again, my recommendation is to reject that only bid that we have for the contract number 2, the 2026 street preservation, and allow us to rebid after we have some conversation with some contractors and try to work on getting some better bids. So with that, I don't have anything else to add unless you have any questions.
All right, any questions for the engineer? All right, thank you, sir. Sergeant Evans, good evening.
No, we have two motions.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Motions, please.
I'll make a motion to award the 2026 street improvements contract number 1 to the lowest qualified, responsive, and responsible bidder, JVI Group Incorporated, at its bid amount of $190,419.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next motion.
I make a motion to reject the only bid for the 2026 street preservation contract number 2 and to authorize the borough engineer to rebid the project after further evaluation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any questions for the engineer before we move on? All right. Thank you, sir. Sergeant Evans.
Good evening. You should have a copy of my report. Outside of that, I really don't have anything to add, so I'll be happy to answer any questions you have in reference to the report.
All right, any questions?
I would like to ask, saw that you recognized our newest officer, Officer Saudi. Can you
Yeah,
tell
Zach,
the public a little bit about how he's doing?
yeah, Zach Saudi, he's the newest officer of the Gettysburg Police Department. He's currently in his phase 3 of his field training, which is the final phase. He's due to be released probably, we're expecting March 24th. He should be on his own, and that'll allow him to slide into his patrol shift spot, and then Detective Lardarella will be seated in his full-time detective role with Detective Reichert. Yeah, Officer Saudi's doing great. He was first assigned his first formal investigation. It was a vandalism investigation not too long ago. He did an excellent job. He located evidence within that. He developed suspects and filed the appropriate charges. So he's going to be an excellent police officer for our department and for the borough. So he's doing a great job. So.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to ask you to do this, but can you tell us a little bit about the recognition you received recently at the college?
Yeah, it was an Outstanding Community Partners Award. I was by Gettysburg College, the Greet Life. They gave me that award. I've been going to certain events, within the college, fraternities and stuff like that. Just trying to better the relationships between the borough and the college and our police department. So.
That was very humbly put. You were recognized for the tremendous efforts you've made to repair that relationship over the last year and the remarkable amount of trust you have engendered amongst the student body in a very short amount of time, and I want to thank you for the efforts you've put into that.
I appreciate it.
Any questions for Sergeant Evans before we get to the motion? All right. Anybody care to make this motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the making of a conditional offer of employment to David R. Snyder and to conditionally appoint Mr. Snyder to fill the current vacancy in the Gettysburg Borough's Administrative Office of Chief of Police.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. For the benefit of those in the room here and those watching at home, as you may or may not be aware, last June the former chief of police left our employ, and we have over the subsequent months been in the able hands of Sergeant Evans as our officer in charge, and as we have been executing the executive search in cooperation with an outside consultant, a corporation called Aspirant. And that search process has come to its conclusion. And I'm very happy to say that we have found a candidate we think is going to excel here in the borough of Gettysburg as chief of police. Ms. Stull, could you please call a roll call vote on this?
Mr. Bales?
Aye.
Mr. Berger?
Aye.
Ms. Mayers?
Aye.
Mr. Mooney?
Aye.
Mr. Rio?
Aye.
Ms. Sanders?
Aye.
Mr. Moon?
Aye.
7.
Great, thank you. All right, any questions for Sergeant Evans before we move on? All right, thank you, sir. It takes us to the officer of the manager and the treasurer. We'll start with Ms. Stull.
Okay, there's a few motions under our tab there. I'll just mention, though, that Tammy and I were able to get the workers' comp audit and the liquid fuels audit completed, so they're done. And right now, we're working on the big audit, so our auditors will be in-house tomorrow for most of the day. So that's all I have.
All right. Mr. Gable.
As I was traveling last week, I did not have the opportunity to provide you with a written report, but I can go over some of the financial highlights of the year. Year to date, the general fund is running a deficit of $642,000, which is to be expected, as spring tax invoices have recently gone out. This will change pretty dramatically in the next month or two. In liquid cash at the ACMB checking account for General Fund 1, $428,000, and our Pliget investments, in the aggregate, the borough has $4.1 million as of February 28th. As it relates to pillow tax, some interesting good news in pillow tax, which is a little bit different than our parking revenue. Generally speaking, parking revenue and pillow tax kind of mirror one another, but for the January month of this year, we set a record for the collection of pillow tax. So while our parking revenue was down some, our pillow tax collection was up, and you can see $8,300 versus $7,100 a year ago in January. Just an interesting number, I thought. The BUILD grant, which is roughly the $19 million grant request through the Department of Transportation, has been submitted. We did that February 23rd before I left on vacation. So with our advocacy, with our folks at Cozen O'Connor, the Senator Fetterman and Senator McCormick and Congressman Joyce, they are all very well aware of this ambitious project and have been advocating for it on our behalf in Washington. So hopefully we'll have a favorable outcome of that grant request later this summer. With that, I'll entertain questions, or we could move to motions.
Any questions for the manager? All right. Can we start working through those motions? Take a motion to approve all bills and payrolls for the month as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The COLA increase.
I'll make a motion to authorize a COLA increase for retired police pensioner Scytha Grissom to be paid from the police pension plan effective February 1st, 2026.
Is there we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, please, banking.
I'll make a motion to adopt the AC&B Bank Corporate Authorization Resolution for approved signers for the Borough of Gettysburg: J. Matthew Moon, Council President; Alicia R. Sanders, Council Vice President; Christopher M. Berger, Council Member; Charles R. Gable, Borough Manager; and Sarah L. Stahl, Borough Secretary.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, waste hauler.
I make a motion to award the borough's municipal waste hauler contract to Waste Connections as the lowest qualified and responsible bidder for the performance of refuse collection and disposal services and the collection of recyclables and recycling services for a 4-year term commencing on April 1st, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I would just add that staff will be meeting with Waste Connections this week to formally begin the transition, and the borough has been communicated with from our outgoing waste hauler, Waste Management, to collect the bins on the first collection cycle. So we'll have more information to share once we meet with Waste Connections later this week.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last one.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 030926, appointing Dominic Piccarelli as a member of the Gettysburg Borough Code Enforcement Appeals Board for a 5-year term of office expiring in March 2031.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Our gratitude to Mr. Piccarelli for continuing that appointment. It takes us to our liaison reports. We'll start the evening with Ms. Sellers of Main Street,
Thank Thank you all and good evening. Quick report, American 250, as you know, is in full swing, so we are still continuing to look for volunteers. Lots of events on the calendar throughout the county, so if you're interested in getting involved, please contact my office, or you can take a look at Destination Gettysburg's website. There's an America 250 link, and that will give you more information on how you can find out where you can volunteer and be helpful. The big event for the 250th, the Gettysburg Address, I can't tell you how many meetings I've been to since I last saw you, but it's in good hands and continues to come together. So if you have any questions about that, I will say that there is a press conference scheduled for Thursday, so more information will be going out into the public. As Charles mentioned, the build grant was submitted, so our thanks to many of our local businesses and all of our elected officials for providing letters of support. So 26 letters went in to support our application, and we will be ready for that award with design and engineering underway. Construction money needs to follow. And finally, we have a groundbreaking ceremony scheduled for tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the Gettysburg Welcome Center. So you all are welcome at 340 Baltimore Street, where we will officially kick off the construction of that project. So please come down, and if you have any questions at all about that, please see me, and I'll be happy to help. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
That's at 1 p.m. tomorrow?
1 p.m. tomorrow, 340 Baltimore Street.
Great. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rio Guerra.
I have no report. At this time, Al and I are trying to connect on a tour. This is a new responsibility for me, and our board meetings don't line up, so we're trying to work that out as well.
Understood. Mr. Berger, GMA.
Yes, we met last month. The Interceptor Sewer Project, we're nearing the end of that. There's one section on Buford Avenue between the Tiber and the traffic light. It's a replacement of the sewer main that was found to have some deficiencies, so they're going to work on that in the next couple weeks. Our Andrews well, we're still gathering more data for impacts on water levels in the surrounding area. Based on a meeting with a hydrogeologist, a new pump test will be needed to satisfy the concerns of DEP. East Lincoln Avenue water main replacement, the plans are complete with the exception of one interconnection that is being added to the project. Hope to put that out to bid in April and start work in June. Of course, with the concern to get it done before the 250th.
So where did you say there was deficiencies?
The section on Buford between the Tiber and the traffic light, little spot there. I just asked Mark, he said they're going to be working on that in the next couple weeks.
Okay. Thank you. The Steinware bid, Kim Mayers.
I do not have a report. I was not able to attend the meeting this time.
Thank you. I don't think we had anybody at ACBA. I did get to go to COG for the first time. That was an interesting experience, getting to meet with many of our peers from around the county. There was discussion about plans for the coming year. A little bit of a throwdown between New Oxford and Gettysburg over whose high school musical selections were more daring. I'm going to have to go with New Oxford doing Les Mis over Shrek. I mean, they're kind of the same story, but no, I don't know. Hopefully I'll have more substantive material to report at subsequent meetings. All right. Happy?
Yes, was able to meet that meeting. A public meeting 2 was held that I went to on February 26th at the rec park as part of the feasibility study for the Boyd School Trail that I mentioned last week. About 20 people were in attendance, half of them property owners. C.S. Davidson gave an overview. To kind of cut to the chase, most of the property owners were against it. The although only about 4 of the 5 properties actually require easements, they expressed opposition, noise, litter, security, liability, and just having the pathway in their front yard. So, I mean, they did indicate they would support the pathway on the north side, so we're going to keep our eye. That's going to go forward, but I'm not sure how that's all going to work out. And there is a meeting for the Friends of Happy on Tuesday, March 31st at 7 p.m. in the Sterner Building, at the Rec Park.
We talk about happy after a meeting.
Sure.
Thanks. All right. Sarah, did we have anything from ACTPO?
No, I did
Okay,
not.
great. Anything about recycling?
I will reach out to our new waste and recycling contractor and see if they have any recommendations. So with the changeover here, I don't have anything else other than that.
All right, great. Was the Wednesday meeting invitation extended to Mr. Mooney as well? Okay. Are you able to attend Wednesday morning?
I won't be able to.
Okay.
Be there. Maybe I can phone in.
We'll see. I don't know. All right, great. All right, we'll move on to elected officials' comments. I'd like to start this evening, if I may. Late Friday, I got to draft a proclamation I wanted to read real quickly. Whereas Black Balloon Day is observed to honor and remember individuals who have lost their lives to drug overdose and to acknowledge the profound impact these losses have on families, friends, and communities throughout Adams County. And whereas the overdose crisis continues to affect communities across Pennsylvania and the nation, crossing all socioeconomic, racial, and geographic boundaries, and remains a significant public health challenge requiring compassion, education, prevention, and recovery-focused solutions. And whereas substance use disorder is a treatable medical condition and recovery is possible when individuals and families have access to support services, treatment resources, harm reduction strategies, and stigma-free community engagement. And whereas Black Balloon Day serves not only as a day of mourning, but also as a call to action to increase awareness, reduce stigma, promote life-saving interventions, and strengthen local efforts focused on prevention, treatment, and long-term recovery. And whereas Adams County recognizes the importance of collaborating among local government, healthcare providers, first responders, community organizers, faith groups, and residents to address overdose prevention and recovery, and to support those affected by substance use disorder with dignity and respect. And whereas public observances such as Black Balloon Day reflect our shared responsibility to remember those lost, support those in recovery, and work collectively to prevent future loss of life. Therefore, I, J. Matthew Moon, Council President / Acting Mayor, do hereby proclaim March 6, 2026 as Black Balloon Day, Overdose Awareness and Recovery Day in the Borough of Gettysburg. Encourage all residents to take part in remembrance, education, and community-based efforts that promote healing, prevention, and recovery. Given under my hand and seal of the Borough of Gettysburg, J. Matthew Moon. This will be on file with the Borough Secretary. If anybody listening tonight needs any help getting Narcan, I hope you'll reach out to me. I'm happy to meet you anywhere, anytime, and give you medication and train you on its use. Any other elected officials' comments tonight? All right. That's going to take us back to public comment. This second section is not restricted to items appearing on the agenda. We do ask you to limit yourself to 5 minutes. Please use the podium. Please state your name and address of residence. Public comment. Anyone? All right, seeing none. We will adjourn to executive session. Thank you.